Hey, what's up, Crypto Army? I'm Travis, your crypto newbie, bringing you my experiences. You have to learn things the hard way. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, and none of my content should be viewed as financial advice. So today we're going to do just a quick update on the market and kind of what's going on with me. I've been getting a lot of comments again saying, hey, you kind of disappeared, where you been, haven't done a lot of content. I do apologize for that. I'm still pretty much in the mix of trying to find a job. I do have a job offer. I've got a couple others that I think are going to turn into job offers, so things are going in the right direction. But I continue to dedicate all my time to trying to find a job, which means submitting resumes and all that kind of fun stuff, doing interviews, and it takes up a lot of my day. I generally try to apply for between 2 and 3 jobs a day, and that can take a lot because every single one of those resumes is different. They kind of need to be tailored to the job you're applying to. So I wish I had a cookie cutter, this is my resume, and it just worked for everything. But because of the nature of my military background, I kind of did a lot of different things. I've got a lot of different experiences. I'm qualified to do a lot of different kinds of federal jobs, which is primarily what I'm applying for, making it kind of a challenge to apply because I also like doing a lot of different jobs. So whether it's aviation or whether it's administrative work or whether it's management work, I kind of like it all. And knowledge management is another one I really, really enjoy doing. So there's a lot of different jobs out there that I'm applying for and looking at. But that means it's a complicated resume process, which means I write a lot of resumes. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I am going to be doing some more updates. I'm in kind of a lull right now where there aren't really a lot of jobs that I haven't already applied for that I could apply for. So I've hit kind of the peak right now. So I'm going to have a little bit of time this week. So I do plan on doing more content this week. I do have interviews this week, but towards the end. So there will be a couple of videos and then probably I'll resume either over the weekend or next week. So I am starting to get back into the content while I wait for the results of some of these applications and interviews to come into and actually translate into jobs. And then there'll be another lull whenever I actually start to get ready to move, if I have to move. Obviously, if I'm moving houses, it's going to be hard to do content. So for that period of time, however long that is, you're probably not going to see me. And I'll do an update video when I'm doing that process. But that's kind of what's going on with me and why the content has been kind of slow, which with the market the way that it is right now, it's perfect timing because there just isn't a lot of stuff to talk about other than the actual market itself. Obviously, the market has been better. I think being in a bear market is never a good thing for investors because you start to get a little scared. And if you look at the fear and greed index here, you can see not doing well. We're at a 12 right now. Last week we're at a 9. It's actually been as low as 8. I've seen it on a couple different times I've checked this. So a lot of fear inside the market. Some of that because of what happened with Terra, some of it because of what's going on with Celsius. There's a lot of weird things going on with the market, and that's not even talking about what's going on with the stock market and the bigger macroeconomic things that are going on right now. So there's just a lot of fear inside of the market. Now, there's a lot of projections out there. How long is this bear market going to last? And again, they're best guesses. Nobody knows for sure how long they're going to last. Might it be 2 years like it was in 2018? Might it be 6 months like it's been before? If you didn't know, if you're new to crypto, about every 4 years, there is going to be some sort of a bear market. And the length of that is going to vary. So this is normal, is the key point to take away from that. What do you do, and what am I doing specifically in a bear market? Well, my situation is a little bit different. I don't have a job. Now, I do have my retirement and I have some other things coming in, so I have a source of income, but I have to pay for the house and bills and everything else. So I don't have a lot of disposable income right now to put into investments. And the money that I do have, it's very, very small, not having a job. Now, if I was to have a job, what would I be doing with the money that I'm not afraid of losing? Because again, you never invest more than you're willing to lose. What would I do with it? Well, I would be looking for new opportunities because they're still out there. There are still projects that are launching, not many. And I would say that a lot of your better projects for investing in have delayed their launches. So some of the projects I've been talking to, they're delayed their launches until the market gets a little bit better. Who knows how long that's going to be. I did cover Vault Finance. I think that's a great project to follow and to continue to keep an eye on as they go through their launch process. And I'll be doing an update video on them also moving forward. But really what I'm doing, or what I will be doing, is investing in projects I'm already invested in, or looking for those cryptos that were really high priced before that are significantly on sale right now, because what you should be trying to do is dollar cost average to get into these projects. Now, a great example is Bitcoin. Right now it's at 20,000. I actually saw it dip down to right around 18 or 19. So it's a little bit up, and actually Ethereum is as well. Across the market, we're seeing a little bit of an increase in the last couple of days. I don't think the bear market has ended. I don't think we're quite out of the bear market. Again, it could last as long as 2 years, and there's still a lot of stuff going on that I think is going to have an impact on crypto, whether it's potential for the Fed to increase rates again next month. That's a big one. What's going to happen with Russia and Ukraine and oil, plus just inflation worldwide is high right now, and it's really not getting under control yet. So I think there's still a lot of stuff out there that are driving this bear market. So I wouldn't expect that it's going to go away anytime soon. But if you invested and bought one Bitcoin right now, could at the end of this bear market it be 60,000? It could. It's been to 60,000 before. There's no reason it can't get there again. But if you buy one Bitcoin, that's 20 grand, what happens if it gets cut in half? Because again, it's a bear market. These things happen. If you look at what Bitcoin's done over time, you can see that it's dropped significantly. Right now, we're about a third of its all-time high. It could continue to go down. It could be 15,000, so you could potentially lose 5,000. So I don't recommend putting tons and tons of money unless you have tons and tons of money. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just my thoughts on how to do these things. I wouldn't necessarily put a ton of money into Bitcoin, but I would dollar cost average. If I buy Bitcoin, I might put a little bit in there, but I'm going to put a little bit into a lot of things. I might put a little bit into Ethereum. I might put a little bit into BNB. So I might invest across the board. So these are investments that could potentially triple in value when we get out of this bear market. But there's other options. Reflex is another great example. I've put more money into Reflex. Even though I'm a little strapped for cash right now, I did put a little bit more into Reflex, and I put a little bit more into a couple other projects also. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Reflex, I think, in a video I'm going to do probably tomorrow. I'm going to do an update based off this weekend's AMA. It's got some good information that I think you should be aware of, so I'm going to do an update video on that. I do apologize for all my Reflex followers that I wasn't able to do the live stream. I was in there listening, but I wasn't in a position to do a live stream on Sunday, so I'm going to do just a quick update video on that. But I do plan on trying to do more live streams of Reflex and other projects. I just haven't gotten them quite to that point where I can do those. But that's my approach, is I look at the positions I have in a lot of the projects I already have, and I dollar cost average. So I look at what I've already invested in, and I look at opportunities to increase my position in those investment areas. Now keep in mind, during a bear market, this is really where you see what's going to survive. And we've seen a lot of projects fail recently. Now, fortunately, not a single project I've covered on this channel has failed or given up in some cases. Sometimes they just gave up because they didn't see a way back. I tend to think that is a bad approach from a business standpoint because there's nothing that actually failed. It's just a bear market. I'm not exactly sure what the decision process was for those projects that just gave up. I feel sad for the investors in those projects because they lost a lot of money when that happened, but that happens in a bear market. This is really where we're going to see a lot of projects fail. And hopefully none of the projects that I've covered on this channel will have that problem. Hopefully none of them are going to give up. I haven't seen any indications that any of the projects I've covered on this channel are going to give up. In fact, in the case of Reflex, they've continued to push out more products. And that's kind of what you really should do in a bear market. Cut back on your marketing. EverGoCoin did the same thing. Cut back on their marketing and started working continuously on development for forever. But that's what you want to see projects do, is put the money that they do have to good use to improve their positions as a solid project on the way out of the bear market. So when you're looking at the projects, look at what are they doing during the bear market? How are they using the resources they have? Are they continuing to develop? What are they developing? What does the market look like in that area? Is it unique in some way? Is there something that's going to make it stand out when we come out of this bear market? So ask those questions. Take a look at the projects that you're invested in and see whether those projects are doing those things. Those are the best candidates for investment right now. But then also, if you want to increase your other positions, do that also. So I put a little bit more money into, say, Reflex than I do, say, another coin. But I'm also going to put money into those. I don't put a lot of money into Dogecoin because I don't see a lot of utility there, although they're starting to have a little bit more utility, I guess. And there's always the Elon factor for Dogecoin. But that's not necessarily one of them I put money into. I did put money into BNB because I do think BNB is going to continue to increase. Now, what are my thoughts on when the bear market is going to end? Again, these are all projections or predictions, and it's not financial advice. But I don't think it's necessarily a timeline. I think it's going to be tied to the stock market. So when the stock market's looking a little bit better, I think it's also going to depend on what happens with inflation and how the Fed continues to increase rates to combat that. I think that's going to play a significant role. I also think that world politics is playing a role. I do think that the Russia-Ukraine thing to some degree is not at the forefront when pretty much everybody's battling inflation. That's kind of the big one. But between inflation and the stock market, those are the two things I would pay attention to. If big projects continue to fail, that will obviously play a huge role. I did see an article, USDT is trying to do an audit to try to increase confidence because of what happened with Luna. Now, algorithmic stablecoins versus regular stablecoins, there's a big difference there. We saw a couple different stablecoins from the algorithmic side have issues along the same time as Luna did. So they're just different. How they operate is just completely different. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about USDC. I've always had concerns about USDT, so I'm glad that they're finally taking the initiative to do an audit. I think it is late. They probably should have done that last year when a lot of the concerns were being raised. But Luna has kind of forced that issue because there's a lot of concern with USDT, which is why I rarely ever buy USDT unless I need to trade for USDT. That's the only time I ever buy it, and I don't usually keep any extra USDT because I do have concerns for that particular stablecoin. But that's kind of my thoughts on the bear market. Can we have bullish sentiment in a bear market? Yes, so you can see increases. Don't assume that if you see Bitcoin jump up to 30,000 that we're out of the bear market, because it can rebound back. Again, it's tied to the bigger issues. So if we're not past the inflation, or we're not tracking the right direction for inflation, the stock market isn't showing the increases, I wouldn't assume that we're out of the bear market just because you start to see increases, but it does happen. There are increases during the middle of a bear market. So new project launches can be a way to realize some profit. If you're investing in new projects, just keep in mind the J curve, because that's still going to play a factor, especially if they don't launch with any utility or they don't have a really solid utility plan. That's one of the things I like about Vault Finance is they've got a lot of utility that's launching with that project, more than I've seen from any project really. And again, I'm going to do a video specifically on Vault Finance here in the coming days, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But overall, this has been my approach for a bear market. Hopefully it helps you and helps you make decisions. Again, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research. If you Google what to do in a bear market, you're going to find a whole bunch of articles out there to do some more research on what to do in a bear market or how to see things. Don't get scared. If you've been investing money that you are afraid to lose, that's a problem. And always do your own research. That's the founding principle of everything with crypto. And I would say that it applies to the stock market as well. Now that's pretty much it for today. Hopefully you found the content helpful. Let me know in the comments. What's your strategy for the bear market? How does it compare? Until next time, stay strong with those diamond hands.